Since it's been a little bit of a discussion in the group, I'm just going to show you what I do. I don't go to a lot of hassle to core a rock. I use a lot of different sizes of bits, and so I have these pallets. They aren't the best idea because it gives me a little movement in my platform, but it lets me use different lengths of bits and drill different sizes of rocks. I can just put in a pallet or take one out. I'm going all the way down. I'm drilling some 1-inch stuff at times when my bit's like 4 inches long. So I need to be able to move things. But all I'm doing is keeping this rock from spinning. I got a 2x4 on that side and a 2x4 on this side. Depending on how the rock is, if it's cut away here, I'll put one underneath there to stabilize it, because I not only want to keep it from spinning, I want to keep it from tipping over when I get started. And you can see that my bit is going to hit over here before it ever hits over here. So I'm going to come down really slow. I'm controlling my descent to where I get that cut started. And this is a pretty soft rock, it's septarian. I don't even put any weight on my bit. Just the weight of the drill is all I'm drilling with on septarian. And hopefully I'll get down both sides. But all I'm doing here, keeping this from spinning. And when I get done with this, we'll come back and make the second cut, and we'll talk about that. Well, this core, a lot of these septarian aren't really that put together. So I'm going to set this one aside till I can glue all that so it'll stay in one piece. It's going to be really showy. And it's a lot softer than a lot of them, but I don't normally have that much of that banding like that color in these. So I'm gonna glue it up real good before I continue with this one, and I'll go ahead and do the second cut on another core that I have laying here. Okay, what I've done is you can see over there, I have a little 1x there and a piece of a 2x4. And the reason I raise that up is I like to have the top of my board be at the center of the rock instead of down below it. It holds a lot better that way. All I'm going to do is put that rock in there, and I can move my base around. And this, you can see I've cut the end of that off with the bit on both ends. And here you can see where I've sawn it off square again, because it got to where it wasn't holding the rock good. And what I want to do is I'm going to push that against that rock, and I'm going to take my drill and set those deck screws to hold the rock in there so it can't turn this way while I'm getting started on this rock. Kind of skip this part. It should be kind of understood. Next, I want to aim the drill so it comes down on either side of my core, because I don't want to take off one side and not the other. It makes it harder to make them round. Well, the second cut, you can see my ends of my core just fell off. The one of them was still stuck in the board. It's holding on to it there. And then we got the pillow. So, yeah, I missed a little bit. You can see here how wide that is. And on the other side, it's that wide. But I do that all the time, so it's not a huge deal. I'll make a sphere out of it anyway. So what I'm going to do now is I'll get this prepped for my third cut, and I'll put it in the, and I'll come back and talk about that. Okay, now I'm ready to start my third cut. I've washed out any crumbs or pieces of rock that might have fell off there. Usually the second one isn't too bad, but you can lose that. For my third cut, I want to use a square edge as big as I can. So if you have a core that's got one corner broke off, I always like to put the square corner over here, so the rotation of the rock pushes it up against that and over here. This one here is pretty straight. So what I'm going to do is I just drop it in there. It's still tight. I got to kind of force it in there. I'll make sure it's down in there good and tight. And now I'm going to aim my bit. I'll drop it down. Looks pretty good on left and right. Front and back don't look too bad. So I'll get everything going here, turn my water on, and cut the corners off. And that's all I do, guys. Most of the time I'll cut a bunch of cores. I mean, I'll do, last week one night I had 15 cores that I did second and third cuts on, and I'll run all the ones that are the same size. And now and then I gotta take my screws out and reset it because it gets loose. The rocks jostle it around or whatever. But usually it'll stay pretty good. And then I go to the next size and I move my boards and just do it like that. So I'll cut this and I'll be back. Something I didn't mention was anytime I'm cutting a rock, well, especially first cuts or on these third cuts, and this is the edge, you can see where I've ground that edge off. I like to do that because it lets, I mean, you can see the bit has teeth and it's going to catch and hang and it'll want to jump up and down off that. I'm coming down really slow, and until I get good contact all the way around the bit, I'm not really putting very much pressure on it at all. So I'll go ahead and finish that. So we're through that. I'm gonna go ahead and raise my head on my drill and see if hopefully this core will fall right out. And there it lays right there. A lot of times, depends on, rocks, these little cornels, when you get through it, will spin and bump your boards around, and you may need to, like I said, just loosen the screws and reposition it where it's holding it in there good and tight. And I'll take this, I have access to a masonry saw, and I'll just cut these corners off, all 8 corners, and then shape it on my flat lap. It takes me 10 minutes on the flat lap most of the time. Some of the harder rocks take a little longer, and the giant ones like an 8-inch core is a pain in the butt. But there she is.